It's been a couple of weeks since I've had a video out. A lot of things have happened. I'm going to cover some of it right here. We're going to start off talking about the Buckeyes beating the team up north again, and then going on to win the Big Ten championship. Talk a little bit about Urban Meyer retiring, Ryan Day taking over. Give you my thoughts on that. Give you my thoughts on the Browns and where they're at right now and how they're continuing to improve and win games like we all knew they could. And get everything back up to date with what's going on. Like I said, it's been a couple of weeks since I've done a video. I'm going to cover the Ohio State football program first. This was this was a very up and down year for the Buckeyes, starting with the Zach Smith stuff and Urban being suspended for the first, essentially the first, month and a half of the season. He wasn't around them for camp, and then he wasn't around them for the first 3 games. So he was away for, about the first 6 weeks of the season, literally. Comes back, Ohio State really defensively struggled badly. Offensive line struggled badly. The one bright spot was Dwayne Haskins, who looked absolutely great through all of that, and in my opinion carried this team to the Rose Bowl. If we didn't have Haskins, I don't think we win the 11 games we did win, 11 or 12 games we won. That's just the way I feel about that. I'm not sure what happened to the Buckeyes. This team should have easily been in the undefeated and been in the college football playoff. There is that much talent on this team. They should have easily done that. They should have literally walked through that schedule. Easy. Even Purdue on the road at night should have blew them out. This team didn't show up until we had to play the team up north. When we got to that game, that team that played that game, that's the team that I thought we should have been the whole season. And I don't know where it was at. We played great defensively. Offensive line played good. We shocked the shit out of Michigan. They didn't have any idea we were going to play that good. And you beat them again. They just can't beat us. They don't have the talent to beat the Buckeyes. They just don't. That's why when you look at our recruiting, pay attention to this in February when National Signing Day gets here and watch how they rank the classes. You'll see Michigan will be like 15, 18, some maybe even 20, somewhere down the line. Then you look at Ohio State, Clemson, Alabama, Georgia. We're all in the top 5 in some order. We're right there with the rest of them in some order. Usually, number one changes back and forth. It just depends. One kid committing and decommitting can make the difference, and you be a number 1 or number 5. But usually it's Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson, and Georgia. You're usually in your top 5, 4 or 5 right there. That gap from, let's just say, for the sake of argument, we're 5th, and Michigan's 15th. That gap from 5th to 15th, you see that when the teams play on the field. We have more talent. We're faster. We're better at football than they are. Bottom line, that's why you don't win. That's why you can't beat us. It's not your coach. It's your recruiting. You're not recruiting good enough players to get the job done. Your quarterback sucks. You haven't had a good quarterback. You haven't really had a decent quarterback at Michigan since probably Chad Henne, maybe 10 years ago or whatever. I mean, you really haven't had anybody any good in a long time. Denard Robinson sucked. Don't even start him. He was terrible. Uh, then that other one you had after him that wore number 80 something, whatever his name was. He wasn't any good. Gardner sucked. He wasn't any good. So then you just haven't been able to get a quarterback. You know, it's one of your biggest problems. But Ohio State dropped 62 on them, beats them fairly easily. I know it kind of got close there before halftime. We had a couple of mishaps, a muffed kickoff. That's really as close as Michigan ever got, was right there before half. And we put our foot on the gas in the second half and just blew them out, and they couldn't hang. They don't have what it takes to hang. So, again, Ohio State's dominance prevails again. It's just a shame we couldn't win that game in Purdue, that we laid down and quit and didn't take that game seriously and went in there and got shellacked by an inferior opponent. Purdue sucks. They're not any good. They've never been any good. Not since years ago. They haven't mattered. And for you to go in there and get beat like that, it's just embarrassing. If we're going to lose, if the Buckeyes are going to lose, they damn well should be losing to teams, like Penn State and Wisconsin. Something that's really about it. Michigan's not going to beat us. They shouldn't have lost to Iowa last year. That was another. And I'm wondering a lot if that is not Urban. I don't remember losing to teams like that when Tressel was the coach. When the Vest was there, we would, we had some losses and we had a few bad games. I remember Purdue beating Terrell Pryor. He had 4 picks. I believe it was his rookie season or freshman year. I'm not sure, somewhere in that neighborhood. We weren't very good at the beginning of the year, and we lost a couple of games like that because we were transitioning from we were bringing in young players, so our team was young. Yeah, our team was kind of young this year, but I felt like we had enough upperclassmen to hold the fort down, and we should have had enough guys to run the table. So I think at the end of the day, looking back on it, I just don't think Ohio State was up for the Purdue game. I put that on the coach. We got shellacked by Clemson that year in the bowl game. I put that on the coach as well. Shouldn't have got beat that bad. I mean, there were some games that Urban got beat really bad. Like, this game, like we shouldn't have lost. Michigan State twice. Lost them in the Big Ten championship game that year. And there's no way we should have lost to them. I always questioned Urban's offense. See, the offense that we ran this year was different because we had a quarterback. We didn't have a quarterback that was a read option quarterback starting. Our starting quarterback was a pocket passer. So we had to alter our defense to what he can do. Simplify it to make it something more doable for him. And it worked out great. He throws great deep balls. He can make any throw that you ask him to make. He can throw the slant. He can throw the curl. He can throw the out. He can throw a post. Whatever throw you need him to make, Dwayne Haskins can make. He is going to be a fantastic pro quarterback, and I can't wait to watch him. I just hope he doesn't go to Pittsburgh. Stay away from Pittsburgh. I don't want them getting him. I would like to see him go to someplace like Jacksonville with a great defense. I think he would give them a big boost and make them a serious contender, because they're not a serious contender with Blake Bortles. Give a break. But moving on to the Big Ten championship game, Northwestern never really stood a chance in that game. Everybody knew we were going to beat them. Northwestern even knew we were going to beat them. They had 8-4. They're not going to, come on, give me a break. You can't. The Big Ten West was so down this year. And Northwestern's not going to get back to the Big Ten championship game for a while. I see Wisconsin and Iowa. I think Nebraska's going to start coming on the rise pretty soon. Give that guy some time. I think he's going to get Nebraska turned around. You get Scott Frost some time. But it was what it was. Ohio State didn't have any trouble with Northwestern. We spanked them. We probably could have put it on them a lot worse than we did, but we got the job done. Won the Big Ten, so. And hey, I'm sitting here nitpicking, the Purdue game, but if you tell me at the beginning of the season that we lose one game, and it would not be against a team up north, we're going to go to the Rose Bowl, and that's going to be your season. I would say that's great. And we're not going to win it every year. It's hard to win national championships when you play a schedule like what the Big Ten schedule is. The Big Ten is clearly the toughest conference in the country. In my opinion, I think it's tough. I think it's way tougher than the SEC. I feel Alabama has a very easy road to the national championship game every year. And I feel that there's only two other teams that can beat Alabama in the country. One of them is Clemson. The other one is Ohio State. Why do I feel that way? Because we're the only ones that have beat them. I'm not going to count losing to Auburn in the Iron Bowl because they're still going to get in the playoffs. And Auburn doesn't beat them maybe once every 10 years. And it's not part of it's Oklahoma's fault because they don't schedule tough out-of-conference games. They won't go on the road and play anybody. And I've went over that before. I've discussed that before about how the NCAA lets them get away with it. I just think it shows you that they're kind of soft. They're afraid to go out of their comfort zone. And because Alabama's not a team built, they're built to get a lead and stay ahead of you. They're not built to handle adversity and come from behind and win a big game on the road. I'm not saying they can't do that, but I don't think they're built that way. I don't believe Saban's built that way. I think Saban likes to dominate and win in the trenches, run the ball, grind out the clock. He's sort of an old school kind of guy, but he's kind of adapted to. Again, he's got a quarterback that's in Tua that can throw the ball down the field. So he going from, which is kind of ironic how things played out this year. You went from, you pulled Jalen Hurts out of the game in the national championship game and put Tua in. And then this year, Tua goes down. Jalen has to come in and win the championship, or the SEC championship game, not the national championship game. But he came in and replaced Tua. And I watched that game. It was a fantastic game. It was great to see him come back and win that game. I'm not an Alabama fan. I hate Alabama. I despise them. I'm so sick of them. But I respect them. I respect Nick Saban. They get great athletes, and he knows how to win with them. It's plain and simple. You got to knock the king off the mountain if you want to win the title. And I believe that, in my opinion, Ohio State and Clemson are the only two teams that can beat them. Oklahoma's not going to beat him. They're going to get shellacked. They're going to get their ass handed to them. I know that they got a pretty good offense. They have no defense whatsoever. Alabama will just run over them. They would just steamroll them. I don't think that'll be a game at all. I think if it gets down between Clemson and Alabama again, it's going to be an interesting national championship. As much as we're getting tired of seeing it, Clemson's right there. I mean, as far as Dabo's done a fantastic job with that university and that program, and I mean he's got them up there. He keeps getting the recruits, and he can hang right with them. So it's fun. I wish we could get more teams in the SEC. I wish Georgia's just not quite good enough. They're just not. I wish Auburn would come back. I wish Florida would come back. Tennessee at one time used to be a pretty good team. They're lost in limbo. I just wish that some of these other Ole Miss, Mississippi State, LSU's trying to, but again, when they ran into Alabama, they saw the gap that we're just not. It's kind of like LSU's kind of like Michigan and Ohio State. They just can't beat them. They can't beat Alabama. But if you told me at the beginning of the year that we were going to lose one game, but we're still going to beat the team up north, and we're going to go to the Rose Bowl and probably win the Rose Bowl, I don't think Washington's going to beat Ohio State, especially with it being Urban's last game. I think this team's going to come out and just roll Washington. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm pretty happy with the season. It went by really fast. College football always does go by fast. I get upset and I post videos and say things sometimes because I love my team so much that I want them to. I'm hoping I can will them to play better because we all see the flaws that Ohio State had. When people are talking about Ohio State, we're not putting down the team. We're not piling. Some of them might be, but I'm certainly not. What we're saying is we know this team can play better than what it has played. Even though we were winning games, we got beat by Purdue, and that game kept us out of the playoff. We shouldn't have lost that game. If we would have beat Purdue and maybe lost to Penn State or something like that, and then come back and lost a close game to a ranked Penn State team, we might have got in. But see, we lost to an unranked, shitty Purdue team, and that's why they were going to put a 2-loss Georgia in over us. They put Georgia at 5 and Ohio State at 6. Georgia has 2 losses. They were going to put Georgia in there over Ohio State. I believe Georgia was beat. I think LSU beat Georgia, and of course Alabama beat them in the SEC championship game. So, I feel, and I think there's a lot of people out there, we feel like Ohio State should be in that playoff. We shouldn't have lost that game. It's our own fault that we lost it. I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to bitch and say the committee got it wrong. They should have put Ohio State in. We didn't deserve to be in because we lost that game. You got to win your games. You got to win out. You got to win out and win your conference. Well, you guys got to win out. The conference game doesn't mean anything, particularly if you're Alabama. You could as long as you are number one when you hit your conference game. They're gonna put you in the playoff no matter what happens. If you're in there against Georgia or Florida, or whoever you're playing that year, and they beat you, you're still gonna go in. So that's a flaw in the system. But at the end of the day, they're trying to put the best 4 teams in the playoff. It doesn't have anything to do with conference championships or any of that kind of nonsense. It has to do with, is Alabama one of the top 4 teams in the country? Even if they lose a close game in the SEC championship game, or if they get beat by Auburn and it's a close game, are they still one of the best teams? Sure. So they're going to go in. Alabama almost has to have 2 losses to go in, or to not get in a playoff. They almost have to have 2 losses. They almost have to have a regular season loss and lose the conference championship to not get in. And everybody else can only get 1 loss, and we're fucked. And that's just the way it is. Ohio State, this year we got the 1 loss. Didn't get in. They were going to put a 2-loss Georgia team in there, who I think, if you love Georgia that much, why didn't you put Georgia in a bowl game with Ohio State, and let's see how good Georgia is. Because Georgia was supposed to play Ohio State, and they backed out of it. That's how we ended up with TCU. That's supposed to be Georgia. We were supposed to play a 1-on-1 with Georgia, and they backed out of it. They didn't want that ass whooped because they knew they had to deal with Alabama. They surely didn't want Ohio State whooping that ass early in the season. We were going to play them. We ain't afraid to play them. I'm not afraid to play them. Yeah, that's the difference between my team, the Buckeyes. We'll play anybody and go anywhere and play. A lot of these other teams just won't do it. Alabama won't do it. They want to stay right down there in that area. They don't want to go anywhere else. They didn't want to come and play Ohio State in the horseshoe. They wouldn't want to go play Wisconsin and Madison at night. They wouldn't want to go play that Purdue game. I would like to go in there and play in that environment they had that night. Oklahoma. We went to Oklahoma and beat Oklahoma in their stadium. Yeah, they repaid the favor the next year, but we went out there and beat them at night in their stadium. So I guess it is what it is, and I'm proud of my Buckeyes. I wish they would have gotten the playoff, but unfortunately that's not going to happen this year. But it was a good season. Hope they win the Rose Bowl. That's a great consolation prize. I like the Rose Bowl. It's going to be a fun game to watch. It's going to be, on New Year's Day and everything. So looking forward to it. I'm going to touch on Urban Meyer's situation real quick and Ryan Day, and then I'm going to go to the Brownies. I felt Urban was going to retire after this stuff all came out. I felt like it was coming. I just, there was something about how everything went down, and I actually, last year, I was really kind of like hoping Urban would leave. I don't like his offense. He's a really good recruiter. He's a pretty good coach. He's a really good recruiter, but I don't like his offense. I don't like the read option, run your quarterback 30 times a game and get him hurt. It's a very dumb philosophy, and it's what did Braxton Miller in. Braxton had all kinds of promise, and it's just all the running and getting hit and messing his shoulder up. So JT had been hurt every year. JT got hurt every year he played. He got hurt and missed a game or was taken out of the game at one point every year. And I believe he stuck with JT too long. He brought JT back. Last year, JT was playing his 5th year. He'd already graduated. Dwayne Haskins was sitting there on the bench, and he went back with JT last year. And, JT was not very good. I know he scored a lot of touchdowns, and he ran the ball a little bit. And, he was good at doing certain things, but to do what Dwayne Haskins does, to put the ball where he does and how he throws the ball and how he gets our wide receivers involved and the running backs, Barrett couldn't do that. Barrett can't throw the ball like that. He doesn't have the arm strength to push it down the field. And he doesn't have the accuracy to have the mid-range passes. So I think Ohio State's going to be just fine without Urban. We were fine before he got there. We are our program. Jim Tressel elevated our program to where it's at today. Urban, I disagree with them saying that Urban elevated Ohio State. I don't believe I think Urban, all he did was make us faster. He made Ohio State faster, and that's really all he did. I like the speed. I like having speed and all that stuff. But I mean, when we won the national championship, we won it with a big, strong arm quarterback. When Alabama won it last year, they put in strong arm quarterback and won the national championship. Deshaun Watson, when he won it with Clemson, the year before that, big, strong quarterback, big arm. You've got to have a quarterback that can get the ball down the field. and not so much of this clapping your hands and running from side to side. I just didn't like Urban's offense. Hopefully, Ryan Day won't run that. He'll run a different kind of offense for us. Get some creativity, get all of our guys involved, utilize our talent, and I have complete and utter faith that he will do that. I have no problem with him being named head coach. Who else are you going to hire? You know, there's nobody else to hire. There's no reason to go through an interview process if you think you have the guy right now in the house. And he's young, got a great offensive mind. He's a good recruiter. Look at Ohio State's going to recruit. The recruiting, as far as that goes, yeah, they lost a couple of like 2 recruits. That's fine. If you want to be that way, go ahead. The school will recruit itself. All you got to do is just follow up. When they come here and see that stadium, hear about the tradition, see the facilities we have, these kids are going to come. You're not going to have any trouble getting kids coming to Ohio State. There's an abundance of kids here in Ohio that are good football players that you can pick up and make them into great players. You know, our last Heisman Trophy winner, Troy Smith, was a 3-star athlete from Cleveland, Glenville, who rose to be one of the best quarterbacks we ever had here and won the Heisman Trophy. So, I mean, there's plenty of talent right here in the state of Ohio. You want to go get some speed, go get it. Do whatever you got to do. But as we have to maintain our excellence at Ohio State. You have to maintain that. The expectations are through the roof. And they should be. That's how you get better, is having expectations. You have to have, you know, a national championship or nothing, because we believe our program is just as good as Alabama's and Clemson's and any of these other SEC teams, or, you know, that get in the playoff and stuff. We believe, that's why we're passionate about our, you know, we wanting to get in the playoff and stuff. We know we can hang with you guys. But don't lose to Purdue. Anyhow, that's what I'm going to say about that. I like Urban. I kind of saw this coming. I don't feel that upset about it. I'm not really going to miss him. I like Ryan Day. I'm excited to see what Day brings to the future of the program. And that's about it. I don't think Urban, even though he won a national championship, Urban was only here 7 years. He didn't lose to Michigan. We were already beating the hell out of Michigan when Urban got here. I mean, let's face it, we were dominating them before Urban even got here. He never lost to Michigan. But, you know, the longer he was going to, eventually he was going to. It was just a matter of time. You're not going to beat them every year for 20 or 30 years. At one point, one game they're going to get you here and there. And then they did Tressel. They got him once. But, you know, yeah, that's called a rivalry. You know, if it's not a rivalry, if they don't win every now and then. Right now, it's just really not. But you know, like I said, I'm not too upset about Urban leaving. I appreciate what he did for us. I'm happy we got another national championship out of it. Hopefully, Ryan Day can come in here and continue what we've keep our expectations. You know, our expectations are set high. Keep fulfilling that. Keep bringing in the recruits. Keep winning games. Beating Michigan. Getting into bowl games. Hopefully, contending for the playoff and maybe someday meeting Alabama again. Hopefully. Yeah, I'm excited about Day. I want to see what he brings to the table. So that's all I'm done with Ohio State. I'll probably make a video after the season, after the Rose Bowl. I'll cover that and get into that at that time. So good luck on your retirement, Coach Meyer. Thanks for everything you did. Ryan Day, welcome to the head of the line. I got faith in you. I know you're going to do a great job. Cleveland Browns. The Brownies are evolving into a legitimate NFL football team right before our eyes. We're not quite there yet, but we're making really good progress. I believe that we have finally gotten the franchise quarterback that we've needed for the last 20 years. I think we finally got him. I'm really excited about watching Baker play. I love how he plays. I love his energy, his leadership. And I like how he throws the goddamn football. He throws that thing on a rope. You know, he's not big as nothing, but man, he's got an arm on him. And he ain't afraid to chuck it. You know, struggled a little bit against Houston last week, threw 3 picks in the first half, then come back and throwed for well over 300 yards in the second half, and really kind of kept us in the game as long as he could. I mean, there was a couple of calls. There was a 70-yard touchdown, I believe, called back on a penalty. If we get that, and then there was also Callaway had caught a ball and fumbled it going into the end zone. If he would have caught that, that's 14 points. We'd have been right in the game, even with the 3 turnovers. We'd have been right in the game against Houston. But those are the things that you do when you're trying to learn how to win. You're still gonna fumble, throw picks. He's still young, rookie quarterback. I believe he's only thrown 10 picks on the season, that's pretty good. That's not bad at all, to be honest with you. I think Peyton Manning had over like 20. He had more picks than he did touchdowns his rookie year. And he turned out pretty good. So I'm excited about the future with Baker. I love Chubb. Nick Chubb as our running back. He's phenomenal. I think he is probably the steal of the draft, in my opinion. Everybody talks about, I'm not going to say everybody, but a lot of people talking about Saquon Barkley and what he's doing with the Giants. And he's good. Saquon Barkley's good. He was also a first-round pick. You know, he was expected to do that. We have a guy that we took in the second round that, second or third round, I can't remember what round he was drafted in. Second or third round, that does the same exact thing Saquon Barkley does. So, you know, but I like the Chubb acquisition, drafting him. I like drafting Baker. I like those two together. We need to get a big superstar playmaking wide receiver now. I wish we would have gotten Amari Cooper. I think he would have been a fantastic addition to this team. I would have definitely given up this year's first-round pick for him. He had over 200 yards and 3 touchdowns yesterday with the Dallas Cowboys. So yeah, they ended up winning pretty big on that deal, getting Amari Cooper. I wish the Browns had a big, tall wide receiver like that. We have to go get another one. Preferably one that's not a pothead or a junkie and that can stay on the field, unlike Josh Gordon. It's fun watching the Browns grow and win these games and hang in these games and stuff. It gets frustrating at times. They still, penalties, holding penalties, false starts, and they get hit with. There was a lot of shitty calls. These referees, man, in these games, they suck. There was all kinds of shitty calls yesterday, but it's fun to watch the Browns mature and grow into the team that we want them to be. So hopefully we will continue that, and we'll see if Greg Williams can land that coaching job. Right now, I don't have a problem with him. I don't have a problem with him being the coach. I definitely think you need to keep Kitchens there with Baker. I think it'd be smart to hire Greg Williams and see what happens from that. The team seems to like Greg Williams. Greg Williams gets in their ass. He gives them discipline. He definitely has cut the penalties down. He's won some games. You know, he's won, what, 3 games in the last 4, 3 out of the last 4, something like that. You know, I guarantee you if Hugh Jackson was there, we wouldn't be winning these games. There's just no way. He wouldn't win these games. He just wouldn't. Hugh does not know how to win. That's why he had to go. He doesn't know how to win football games as a head coach. That's why he had to go. And he went back to Cincinnati, where, guess what? They haven't won a game since he's been there. They've lost their last 4 or 5 games in a row. So maybe he took that with him when he went back down there, all that loser mentality. So yeah, Greg Williams, I'm good with that. As long as we keep improving, Baker keeps improving, we're winning games, and we're staying competitive in games. We're not getting blown out. These last 3 games, we have Denver, the Bengals, and Baltimore. All 3 are winnable games. I would love to go out there and beat Denver in Denver. That'd be great. So, and that game's Saturday night, so I'm looking forward to that. I'd like to. We already beat Baltimore once this year, so they're beatable. Bengals are very beatable. They're all beat up with injuries. So, you know, the Browns could win out. If they win Saturday night, they're gonna have a shot at winning out and getting to 8 wins, which would be a big swing from 0-16 to 1-15 the first 2 years here since we've done this rebuild. So I'm pretty excited about that. Let's see what happens. I believe Baker is the guy, and I know we've all kind of thought that before. I think this time it's real. I think he's real. That's what I like about Baker, is he's real. And these other guys would come out and just look like robots. Baker, when he talks like a man. He talks. He didn't regret shit. He doesn't. He just says how he feels, and that's that. You don't like it, I don't care. That's tough. I'm not, like he said, he's not a cookie cutter quarterback. He's unconventional. He's dangerous, and I want my quarterback dangerous, because that means the defense of the team, they know how dangerous he is. They're gonna find out. So, you know, everything's looking up right now for the Browns. You know, we'll figure the coaching thing out at the end of the year. I just hope Haslam don't fuck it up. Because Haslam's an idiot, doesn't know what the hell he's doing. Hiring John Dorsey was the best thing he ever did. That probably saved him from having to sell the team. Dorsey will probably keep Haslam from having to sell the team. So I really think he was going to have to sell this team if he didn't get it fixed, because it's just ridiculous. So, well, I guess that's going to do it for this video. I'll put out, just keep your eyes out. I'm going to put some things out here in the next few days and see what they get, you know, what happens to them, or cover a couple of things. I'm kind of tired, so I'm a little bit, you know, dozing right here doing this video, so I think that's a good time to end it. So thanks for watching, Big Buckeye Dog. I will catch you on the flippity flop. Y'all hear?